This program is brought to you by Grand Valley State University.
Okay, this is the final module. We have 6 modules, so this is module number 6. And for module number 6, we are going to use a different project, and we are going to add more features to the existing app by changing how we present the tweet content here. So, and we mentioned earlier that when you are grabbing data from the network may be like too slow, or you're not patient enough to wait for the data to download. So how do we include some logic in case the network is not available? We want to wait a certain number of seconds and then automatically cancel and then tell the user that, well, network is not available. So that's one enhancement that we are going to add. And as you can see from the previous run of the app, what we used is just 2 text fields, shows that username, the body of the tweet, and the timestamp. Now, if you follow the guidelines provided by Twitter, anytime you show like a username or a hashtag, you want to make those part as hyperlinks. So that's the second enhancement that we are going to build into the app. So we are going to parse. Basically, you need to parse the text that comes from the Twitter server, and we are going to replace this plain text with proper hyperlinks. And we have 4 kinds of hyperlinks that we need to deal with. And also, instead of just showing the username as a text, we want to include the thumbnail image of the user from the user profile. So how do we do that? And we need to download the user image. And again, because downloading image takes more time, then we want to do it in background to make sure that your UI is responding to any user action that maybe he wants to cancel the app, go back, and do something else. So let's first run the application, so then you have a feel how everything fits together here. So this is the new look of the app. We changed the color, and we follow the guideline from twitter.com. Anytime we use their data, we are supposed to display the T logo or the Twitter logo. So because we don't have enough space to show the Twitter complete logo, we just show you the T logo. That's in compliance with the guideline provided by Twitter. So we keep the search box here, and the hint is the same, Twitter search, and we have the image button here. So now let's see how we get the data. So let's say I want to search for GVSU and click the image button. Now you will see the output will be different. Instead of plain text, you will see like hyperlinks everywhere. So anytime we have like a URL, it is a hot hyperlink. If you click that link, it will take you to the proper page. So let's try the first one here. So it's like a bit.ly shortened link here. So if I click that link, for sure it will take us to the page, which is apparently another page in our website. And I'm not going to wait until this one completes, and I'll just go back. And just to show you another link that we have here, let's say I want to click on the username. So when I click on the username, the third user here, so it will take us to the Twitter page of that user. Yep, surely it is now under that username. So you can see like other tweets this user has posted in the past, and number of followers and other information about that particular user. So if we go back, and so now you can see like all these links are hot links that you can click, and then you will be taken to the proper page. So now the question is how you build that feature into your app. And let me show you another nice feature about this app is that the images are downloaded in background. So now if I scroll down or up, then some of the images are blank, because if they are not downloaded yet, you will see a blank image, but once they are downloaded, then you will see the thumbnails are updated by the correct image from each user. So, and if you keep scrolling, then you can see like more images are downloaded, and we do everything in background here. So the image download are in background. So let's now take a look at update that we have to do to the overall application. So the first update is the layout. Of course, now we have to include a new spot for the image, and I believe this is the old item XML. So what I need to do is to bring up the new layout from project 5 under layout and item XML. So this will be the new XML. And now you can see down here, in addition to the text field and other information, I have a new view, which is an image view. So the image view will hold the user picture. So I named this view user_photo. The other views, like the text view, the two text views are exactly the same as in the previous app. So let me go back to the application here. So we want to place the image on the left side, and we want to place the rest, the text and the timestamp are relative to the image, like we want to place the text to the right of the image. And again, we can do that by using the attribute. So let me bring this down. So now you can see like we are using the attribute layout to right off. So the text will be placed to the right of the user photo. So that's how we use the attribute layout to right off. So that's like an advantage of using a relative layout, and you don't need like nesting of linear layout. So just like one parent relative layout with three views, one image view and two text views. So that's the first update that we have to make to the layout, the item XML layout. And the other update that we have to make in the source code is now to download the image. So this is the getView method. If you remember, like this is part of the JSON adapter class, and the getView is the method that will be called every time the list view must update the items inside the list view. So the logic of the getView is similar to what we had before. Now the difference is now we are using a helper class to further improve the performance of this application. We are using a view holder class. So what is a view holder? Well, a view holder is like a structure. This is a very simple structure that we define here to cache the data from the text, the username, the timestamp, and the image. So instead of directly getting the data from the JSON array, now we introduce another intermediate structure to hold the tweets, the timestamp, the username into a view holder. So basically, each item in the list view will have one structure view holder associated with it. And how do we populate the view holder? We have to populate the view holder anytime we inflate the XML layout for a new view. Remember, John mentioned about how the framework will recycle your list view items. So we know when to recycle and when not to recycle by checking the parameter convert view. So if convert view is not null, then we will have to recycle. So how do we recycle? We will recycle the information inside the view holder by copying whatever tag we place into the convert view. So every convert view has additional, like an extra field, the tag, that we can use for any purpose that we like. So in our case here, we use the tag to hold the cached image, text, and timestamp of the tweet. So instead of using like a view, like a plain view, we are using a view holder. And in case we have to create a new one, so the step we need to do is the same as what we did before. So we first inflate the layout. This is exactly the same as what we had before. But if you compare with the previous project, we directly put the text, the timestamp into the view that we return from get view. But here, we don't do that, but instead, we put the text, the timestamp, and the user picture into the view holder. So think of a view holder as the another immediate cache that we use to speed up the performance of this application. Now, we put the holder inside the tag of our convert view. So this is like an additional step that we need to do in order to be able to reuse the information that we saved from our previous call of getView. And another difference between this version of the app with the previous one is the user image. So how do we download the user image? So the user image is downloaded on demand. How do we know that the user image is downloaded on demand? Well, the image is not loaded unless getView is invoked. So when the item is not in view, the image is not going to be downloaded. But when the item is in view, then we want to start downloading the image. And how do we do that? Down here, we have several lines of code that we need to add in order to get the image from the Twitter server. So I'm using a new class, and that class is called image worker. So I have an object named IW, and IW is an image worker, and image worker is the class that will download the image and background. So practically, the image worker class is similar to the Twitter helper that we built into the application before. But now, instead of downloading the text data, the image worker will download image. Will download an image from the Twitter server. So let's say if we have like 10 images that we have to download, then our application will spawn 10 new threads running in background. So for each image, the application will run one background thread to download the image. And once the image is downloaded, we will get a drawable object. So you can see from here. So it takes a parameter of the URL to the photo, which is the second parameter here. And load image will return a drawable object. So once the drawable object is downloaded into your app, then we can place the drawable object into the photo. Well, what is photo? Photo is the icon inside the view holder. And what is icon inside the view holder? That's basically the image view. So if I scroll up down here, so that's the image view that we use to render the thumbnail image of the user. So that's how we render the image. So since we use the method load image from the image worker, so let's take a look at the method load image. And for this project, now we have 3 Java files instead of 2 files. And the new addition to the project is imageworker.java. So what is imageworker.java? As you can see, this file is a short one. And the method load image is defined here. So basically it takes 2 parameters. The first parameter is the base adapter, and the second parameter is the view. Why we need 2 parameters here? Well, the second parameter is obvious because we need to update the view inside the list view. So this method should be able to refer to the view object inside the list view in your screen. So the second parameter is a reference to the list view object that this method must update. How about the first parameter? The first parameter is the adapter. Now, if you remember, the way we put these classes together, we download the image in background, and we store the image inside an internal data structure. And the list view is then populated by a JSON adapter. Now, in order to tell the JSON adapter that a new data is ready for you to use, we need to be able to notify the JSON adapter. So that's why this method must be given a reference to the JSON adapter that will populate the list view in your screen. So if you look at the logic of the load image method here, so the first thing that we need to do is we want to avoid sending unnecessary requests. Well, let's say we have like 100 tweets that we find, but let's say 10 of these tweets are posted by the same user. So we don't want to load the image of this user 10 times. If the image of this user has been downloaded once, and then what we can do is save the image into like an internal cache, and then just reuse the image from the cache. So we avoid sending a new request, unnecessary request to the server. So how do we do that? Well, it's if you look at the if statement, so we check the if statement. Basically, the if statement is to check whether the image has been downloaded and saved into the cache. So what is image cache? So image cache is a hash map, and if you look at the definition of the image cache here, so the map has a string as the key, and the value is a drawable. So for each URL for the image, we have the associated image downloaded from the net. So if we find the URL inside the hash map, that means the image has been downloaded, so we don't have to send a new request. So what we can do is just grab the image from the hash map and then return that image to the color of load image. So that's what the if statement does for you. But if the image is not found inside the cache, the hash map, then we need to spawn a new background process to download the image, and we want to do it in background. So if you look at the logic of the next else block here, This is when we spawn a new background. We call it like image task, and we pass the URL of the image, and then this line will run in background, and the image task is another subclass of async task. So we use async task twice here. Once to download the Twitter data in background, and the second use of async task is to load image files. And if you remember the structure of the async task class, we have several methods to use here. So the first one is do in background, and the second one is on post execute. So again, whatever you put inside the method do in background will be running in background. So this is similar to how we download the tweet text from the tweet server. So we have to set up a request, and we set up the URL, and then we open the URL. So we connect the tweet server, and when everything goes smoothly, then we will get the data, and the stream of which is the handle to the image will be returned as an input stream, the local variable ISTR here. And once we have the handle for the image, then we can create the drawable from the image by calling the static method create from stream. So that's how we download the image from the tweet server and then create a drawable object that we can use to render your list item view. So again, remember we do this in background. So once the downloaded of the image is complete, then the async task framework will automatically invoke the method on post execute. So this is when we have to tell the JSON adapter that a new image is ready to be rendered on the list view. So how do we tell the JSON adapter? We call the notify dataset changed. So remember, we have to do that because the background thread is running separately from the UI thread, and whenever the image is ready, we have to tell the UI thread a new data is now available. You want to update your UI view. So that's how we set up the image worker thread here. So now let me go back to my activity. So now you see how the image is downloaded in background here, and whenever the image is ready, then you can render it on the view. And how do I handle timeout? When the network is slow, we want to be able to cancel whatever background task that we are running. So remember the trigger of downloading the tweet data will begin when you press the image button, the search image button. And we have like an on-click listener here that will listen to the click on the image button. And if you compare this on-click method with the previous project, the difference is we have now additional line of code. So this is to set up a timeout. So what we had before is just to call the execute method to start the background task. But now we insert a new line of code here. Basically, we want to wait for the result of the background task, the Twitter task. We want to wait for 5 seconds. So this method will wait for 5 seconds. So this is given in milliseconds, 5,000. And when after 5 seconds the task did not give you like the answer, then this method will time out, and this method will throw an exception. So that's how we catch the exception inside a try-catch block. So when the method is giving you the exception here, so we will catch the exception inside the catch block. And what we want to do here is to cancel the background task. So that's how we cancel the task here. And we are giving the information to the user that, okay, apparently the network is not available for you. So we have the private method alert just to show a short message. So alert is a private method that we add down here. So this is just to call the make text method from the toast class that we used before. So that's how we handle timeout if the network is slow or the network is unavailable to download your data. And the second enhancement that we include in this version of the application is to make all the Twitter link into hyperlinks. How do we do that? So let's recall what we need to do here. So I used my Eclipse project to show you the logic of handling timeout. So what we need to do in order to replace the plain text into a hyperlink is to parse for a certain pattern. So in this example, I give you like the mention links in Twitter. So how do we know that a text is a mention link? Well, anytime you see an @ followed by a username, that tells you that that plain text @mentioned should be replaced by a hyperlink to the proper user page. So let's say if the input plain text is the word hello and the word @username dot what's up. So what we want to do is to convert the plain text @bamboo with the proper link to the user page in his Twitter page. So the output of this input plain text should be something like this: hello http://twitter.com/bamboo. So you see that what we need to do is to replace the text, the plain text, with a hyperlink. So in order to accomplish this task, we need some methods and new classes to use in our app. So the first one is we need to understand how regular expressions are used by string matching in Java. And there is a class, Linkify. So as you can guess from the name of the class, this is to make hyperlinks. And Linkify class gives you an inner class transform filter. So basically, we want to run the input text through a filter, a text filter, and the output of that filter will be a new output with the proper hyperlinks here. So that's what we need to use in our application. So the transform filter class, actually it's not a class, it's an interface. So the transform filter interface defines a method transform URL. So that's you will see in our project. So we have to provide a method transform URL. And once we have the transform URL method defined in our activity, and we can use that to create the actual links. So the method that we need to do to insert hyperlinks into our text view is the @links method. So let's take a look at the code here. So as you can see from here, there are some lines that we have to modify, like 4 different places that we have to make changes in our source code. So the first one is we need to tell the string matching. Let me go to the project. And let me enable the line number. So the first update that we have to make is on line 58. So we include 4 different patterns here, but I will go over only one of them because basically once you know one of the 4, then we know how to use the other 3. So what we want to do is we want to parse for mention links. Mention link starts with an @ sign followed by username. So if you look at the regular expression that we need to define here, so we have the @ sign followed by username, and a username can be any lowercase, uppercase, alphabet, or digits 0 to 9, or an underscore. So these are the valid characters for a username. So if you know a little bit about a regular expression, this is how we use the bracket here. The bracket is to tell the pattern matching that I need one of these characters inside the set of characters, and the plus sign tells the pattern matching that we have a pattern that begins with an @ sign followed by one or more any of these characters here. So that's like the regular expression. So I'm not going to go over the other regular expressions because they are basically the same. So that's the first component that we need. We need to define a pattern for the regular expression. And what is the second component? The second component that we need to do is we need to know how to replace, once we find the mentioned text in the plain text from the Twitter data, we want to replace it with the HTTP string. And you can see that in line 70 of the application. So this is the HTTP URL that we want to use to replace the user pattern. And we call it like tweet user URL and the HTTP. So that's the second component. Now what is the third component? The third component is the transform filter. So with the transform filter, what we need to do is to remove. We need to remove the first @ because what we need to get is the actual username. So the username is anything after the @ sign. And in order to do that, we need to define a class transform filter. We need to have a class that implements the transform filter interface. And the transform filter is here. So we have a transform filter object. We call it no @ sign. So basically we want to remove the @ sign at the beginning of the text. And we instantiate a new transform filter object, and this is an interface that requires you to provide a method transform URL. So it's very simple. As you can see, what we need to do is just to get rid of the first @ sign. So we can do that by simply calling the substring. So if you remember, substring is a method that takes the position of the string. The first character is position 0, so we want to exclude the first character, so we simply take the character starting from the second position to the end of the string. So this is the filter that we need to run. So we remove the @ sign by taking the substring of the user input starting from the second position. So that's the third component, and the fourth component is to actually insert the link into your text view. And how do we do that? In order to insert the link, we have to call the addLinks method, and we will see that inside the project, and this will be part of the get view. So we see like get view GetView has more lines of code now. So we make several calls to linkify.addLinks. Now we want to just look at the line in highlight line here. So what is T? T is the text view. Remember, this is like one list item view inside the list view that we are rendering here. So we want to run the filter. And how do we run the filter? We run the filter. The name of the filter is no @ sign. We want to remove the @ sign. And we want to replace the @username with proper user URL on the Twitter page. And the second parameter, user path, is the pattern, the regular expression. So basically, we are telling Linkify to search for this pattern, and when that pattern is found, then replace that pattern with the Twitter user URL, and before the link is inserted, we want to run the filter. So search for the pattern, remove the @ sign, and then replace that output with the HTTP twitter.com/username. So that's how this method works. So the other three calls are basically similar, so I'm not going to go through the rest of them. So that's another improvement that we made. So now you can see how the links are there, and the HTTP links are there, and the hashtags. Yeah, we have one hashtags here. We have one mention, and this is a link to the username, and this is a link to the URL. So, so we show you how to load the image. Basically, we need to make changes into the getView method, and we want to load the image on demand. And in order to avoid loading unnecessary image, we want to cache the data using like a hash map. So we give you like we walk through the code how to do all this task here. So we went over the changes that we have to make. We include a new view in the layout, item XML, and I showed you how to use the asynchronous task to load all the images using background threads, and I show you how to call the notify dataset change, so then the JSON adapter knows when to update the list view. So what we learned here is, again, another use of asynchronous task, and we learned how to set up a timer in order to set up a timeout logic to handle a slow network connection, for instance. And we learned how to use the Linkify class to replace plain text and with formatted text that we like. And using this class and the method and the transform filter, we are able to convert the plain text into proper Twitter hyperlinks. And again, we learn how to use the asynchronous task to download all the images efficiently using a background task. So we show you the demo. So that's the end of module 6. So if you want to find out more information about us, about the lab, so these are the links. You can contact us by email. Our email addresses are there. This is my email address, and this is John's email address. The website, and more information about the mobile app labs from our website.
The preceding program is copyrighted by Grand Valley State University. Visit us at gbsu.edu.